All right, welcome to Stampscapes Friday Night Live. We have a kind of a roughly half-page piece of the glow in the dark. I don't know how to pronounce this. Giraffe vinyl. Vinyl printable sticker paper. I don't know why it says holographic clear laminate. This is, I don't know. I'm looking at this. Maybe this is just some kind of general thing that they put in with all of their papers, but this one is the printable vinyl sticker paper, and it is the glow-in-the-dark variety. It's been really fun to experiment with. I'm going to try some of the new imagery coupled with the old. We'll add in some grasses in here, and I will attempt to shade color it, the best I can. I've been, trying to get the gist of it. And, it's kind of coming around a little bit, as far as the usage. Yeah, I learned a lot using it recently, and what I can't do with it and what I can do. Okay, so I'm going to use the Brilliance pigment ink. It just works really fantastic with it. And as far as the media that I have, it works the best with this type of paper. The Brilliance is a really good medium for these printable vinyls, it seems, just because pigment inks are very surface oriented, so you get a nice, decent impression with them. They're not soaking in, and the Brilliance happens to be water-based, which is what the printable vinyls are designed for. Your inkjet printer inks are water-based. All right, so let me try to move along in here, and I will try not to delay as much as I always do. I just watched one of my videos to edit down. I was like, man, I blab too much. I'm describing everything as I go along, as if someone has never seen anything, done before, right down to just like impressions or something like that. But I'll move a little bit quicker with this. Okay, so that's the curvilinear road right there. And I thought, okay, so the curvilinear road is going to be going up to this windmill like this. And I thought, oh, it's not going to be like a, I don't think, like a haunted scene. But I think I will use it for that in the future, because I was thinking, that end scene in Frankenstein, it takes place in a windmill, right? Where the villagers come and, wreak havoc. And this glow-in-the-dark paper is going to be really perfect for that. Hello, Bonnie. How are you? And Candy. And these weeks go by fast. Seems like, I hope you had a great week, And I was thinking, man, I just said that. It feels like I said that like 2 days ago on the last stream. All right, so we have this built up right here. I'm stamped out my curvilinear road a little bit higher just because I wanted a little bit more runway here. So now we're going to extend this out. And let's see. I've been playing around with these grasses a lot more. I usually just use the sedge filler, but I want to go a little bit deeper in here. Okay. Deeper just in terms of larger grassy textures to create a little bit more visual space here. All right, now these grassy textures are the thing that I really learned on what I can use the watercolor pencil for, and it is not grass. At least with my abilities to use it with that. I really like the watercolor pencil with the Seaside Cove though, and just, you know, going for like smoother kind of blends. Yeah. All right, so adding this in like so, and again, maybe I should have kind of blotted some areas out. See, I have that little area in there now that I'm going to have to contend with or address. So a little bit less blending. Now, see, if I'm stamping that out on other types of papers, I'm not getting that harsh line, but the emulsion, see, that's a much better impression right there. The emulsion on this paper, it grabs the ink really fast, that water-based ink. So if you have just a little bit of buildup on the stamp, with most papers, it's not going to really be a big deal. But on this emulsion, I just think it gives like a really, you know, harsh potential impression in there. I'm not worried about it too much because I have other things that I'm going to be adding in here. I'm going to be adding this fences to each side of this road. Okay, and a lot of this is going to get dark anyway because it's, you know, it's glow in the dark, you know, sticker paper, and I want certain things to stand out a little bit more. Hello, Linda. How are you? Linda's been busy watching a lot of videos. I sent her a note and I said, I think you've been busier watching the videos, or as busy as I was in making them. That's for sure, because she was like catching up with a bunch of them like in a short span of time, where mine was like spread out over a week. Of course, you always just kind of get the gist, you know, scroll to the end of all the videos. Okay, so that is right in there. And I'll put the windmill right in here, and then we'll add on other things around it. So I wanted to put this a little bit more on a hill like this, with the slope going up to it like that, but I wanted to get most of the windmill in the scene. I don't mind if this blade runs off the top of the, you know, the card. But I wanted to get most of it in there. I just think it, you know, I wanted that silhouette against this sky in here. So anyway, I think I'll go right about right here. All right, so let's do that. Okay, before I do that, let me see here. Okay, I'm situating like a little mask there first. A lot of times I ink up and then I'm masking off, and then in the meantime, you know, my inked up stamp is maybe drying a little bit, so. All right. Slightly under masking, so I don't get this big gap in between the windmill and that grass. Now, if I do, I'm just going to add in some extra grass, or it gets filled in a little bit with some extra tone. But if it, you know, the more seamless it is, you know, the better, because that creates less work for us to do in the you know, the shading, coloring process. All right, there we go there. Again, I did kind of get a little bit of a muddled kind of application of this on certain types of papers sometimes. I think I did it on foil, and it kind of left some of that on there. I'll fill it in with some additional color, though. I don't know, if you're using your positioners, you don't have to, you can just stamp it again. But that's interesting. So I don't know, yeah, big solid imagery on there or something like that, but yeah. Huh. Anyway. Okay, so that is on here. I tell you what I'm going to do, is since we're, you know, kind of playing around with grasses, I'm going to put, instead of that being like right on the top edge of that hill, I'm going to put a hill right behind it a little bit, a little sloping hill, I think. You know, just no reason. I mean, you can leave it like that too. But, you know, since we were doing that kind of that exercise on, or whatever, demonstration on grasses, let's add in some extra depth here. It'll kind of nestle the windmill into kind of a little bit of a grassy slope. Okay, so wiping off the perimeter of this a little bit more. And when you do that too, it becomes very light, and I can just stamp it right over the top of this image without any really any big deal. You know, it's not going to leave a big harsh line, and you know, right in that. Whatever the image, and you know, it's not a foreground image, but the image just in front of it. Okay, let's see. Oh, I hear my delivery coming. I'm waiting on some rubber. UPS. All right, so there's that hill back there. And then, boy, that looks kind of muddled in there. That's one of the things, you know, I'm kind of getting the feel, I'm still getting the feel of working with this vinyl. It's aggressive in its glow, and it's aggressive with its ink kind of impression rate or whatever. Okay, let's see here. And now I want to add in a bunch of clouds in that background, okay? And I want to put in that full moon in here as well. I'm kind of setting myself up for the eventual usage of this in that kind of that Frankenstein Halloween setting. So let's see. Last Friday night, my great-grandson came at 9, so I was at the hospital. Oh! I was saying, uh-oh, what hospital? Oh, okay. He was delivered there. That's nice. Linda was hearing my voice in her sleep. She watched from start to finish the grasses about 4 times. So Linda, what she means by that is she was having like nightmares of me in her sleep. Woke up in a cold sweat, you know. It's like, oh my God, you know. In her dreams, I was saying, you know, use more ink. All right, let's get this in here. All right, so I've wiped off this cloud quite a bit here, and I'm going to go right in here like that. But this whole portion from here up was, you know, the ink was removed quite a bit, okay? It's a little bit darker over here, so let's see. Yeah, that worked out pretty good. I don't know why. Now, this is the one that I tend to think that, I don't know if I'm adding enough or removing enough ink, and, you know, because it's all dots, and it's, you know, it's a real varied impression. And it's dense with dots, but I don't know, it seems to be like this one's like the easiest one to use on here, where I would have thought it was going to be a little bit more precarious. I stamp it out, then the edges are showing too much or something like that, and it's not really blending very well, but for some reason this cloud works really easy on there. I don't know, maybe it's where, I don't know, that more ink is on the, I guess that would stand to reason that if there's more ink on the stamp, it's just leaving a much stronger impression, where these are all like tiny, tiny little dots, I guess, maybe. I have no idea. Okay, so I'm going to be stamping a moon over this way, maybe right here, I think. So I have wiped off the back of this now, whereas before it was the front of it where it's going into this, but now it's going, you know, the back side is going to be in that windmill. So let's see. something like this. And it's good to kind of fill in some of that. I didn't go down far enough right there. A tree. It's good to fill in that area with some textures. Just again, it's going to really remove the need to do a lot of really careful blending in that space, because it's going to have a bunch of texture. If it's a blank area and I have to go for these kind of smooth applications of tone, preferably, it's a little bit harder. Okay, so let's see here. The billows are facing this way, so the light is coming from that side, and I'm gonna go like this now, okay? And I'll leave a space for that moon, maybe a little bit more. That right there might be okay. I'll go like this right here. So we're rotating that moon around, and just remember to take a good amount of that ink off right here, off the edges, and especially the side of the moon that's going to be facing your light source, okay? All right, let's see. Just when I put my hand like here, like when there's a little bit of a shadow down here, in person I can already see that little area glowing really well. I was going to add in some different sky textures. I was going to use the cloud alto cumulus in here as well, in addition to a moon. But I don't think I'm not going to have space for that. Oh, one of the other things I want to do too is I want to stamp out some area like this in my sky, and then kind of darken it out a little bit, and then cut out a moon stamped on that sticker paper, and then put that moon into that space, okay, so I can have like a really dark textured background that's easy to establish, and then I can just do another moon right over the top of it so that it's nice and crisp and clear, and I won't have to stamp it out and like mask it off and work around it or something like that. I think it'd just be easier just to stamp it out separately and to paste it back in there. All right, let's go with that. About like so. Oh, I have this space right here. Okay, and that's kind of a darker edge. I'll go right in here, so I'm overlapping a really good portion and going for this little section right here. Okay, and we have that. There's very little kind of distinction between land and sky, so we'll give this a really strong kind of horizon line. Maybe I'll just use those trees. I've been using my small tree cluster a lot here. Here we go with this right here. Let's see. All right, before I do that, I really want my fences in here because I think that's going to be a nice framework for this entry point right here. And then putting just a fence right across that is going to smooth that out. In theory, before I have to go in there and do what I'm going to do anyway, which is, adding a lot of shading in there to, make that grassy area a little bit more, we're going to put the volumes back into that, or introduce the volumes into that grass. So that's not just this kind of crazy texture going everywhere. Okay, so this fence right here, I'm just using a small portion of it right here because that's the only space right here, and I want to block off that road. I inked up way more than I thought, than I should have. All right, this is one of those big solid ones. Let's see if I can get a nice dark impression. It's not too bad. It's a little bit light down in there, but that's pretty solid. Okay. And this one will be fairly prominent right here, okay? Let's see. Bonnie, what's your great-grandson's name? Hello, Sam Hawkins, how are you? Sharita, how are you? All right, we're going right here. Like so. Let's go a little bit higher on this one, I think. I'm taking a peek because this is like stuck to it, so if it's not like transferred on there, I can just lay it down and go again. Maybe that's one of the good things about the vinyl is it's like sticky, with that ink on there. Yeah, it's decent there. Yeah, it's a little bit lighter, but I don't know. For some reason, these ones are like a lot darker like that. Okay. But, all right. All right, okay, now I have like a lot of the big foundational things stamped out here. Let's take a look and let's add in. Okay, let's go in with these trees here. We'll add a pretty decent amount of them, I think, because that's going to, I don't know, it'll establish structure within this space and it'll tame it a little bit. It's just, it's real blobby looking, okay? So, trees in scenic stamping are a great remedy for blobbiness. I'm joking, I don't know. I thought that sounded funny. But in this case, I think it will be. Okay. Let's see here. Now see, if I stamp this right here, going into that dark, we're not really going to be able to see the tree very much. So I'm going to stamp it in a little bit of a lighter area. Let's see. Let me just, here, I don't even need to mask off, since it's not going down into that fence area too much. Hello, Jennifer. Caden Ray, 7 pounds, 4 ounces. A blend of both parents. Very nice. Caden. That's how my son's friend spelled his name, with the Kayden. I think he said other kids in his class, Caden, with the Caden. Yeah. but Caden was one of his good friends when I had him in fence. That came out really light right there. All right, here we go. I need some darker impressions with this. When we need it dark, it's coming out a little bit light for some reason. Here, let me go like this right here. We'll add in some more. Let me try a little bit of a firmer impression. There we go. It's a little bit better. I kind of pressed into it a little bit more. Remember, these are, you know, when we're using these types of surfaces like this, you know, we're using kind of like, you know, media that, you know, the surfaces weren't necessarily designed for. So as we can see, it's like working perfectly with those clouds, but I guess it's with the denser area, denser, you know, more solid imagery. I guess that's where, you know, it kind of suffers a little bit in terms of just a technique standpoint, potentially. I don't know, those ones came out okay. And let's go right here. So I'm really filling this area in. And let's put some trees up on that little ridge line right in there. I'm going to try to define, everything's getting kind of a little bit muddled right here in terms of, kind of just the separation of imagery, okay? So now I don't know why those ones came out like perfectly, you know, dark right there. Maybe I'm like concentrating more pressure into that area. I don't know, play around with that. I don't seem to recall thinking that before. Now, why is that like super dark right there? I have no idea. Let's put another one right over here. So see, when I mouse that off, I'm doing like partial kind of impressions up that way. The higher I go, kind of the less tree I'm using or stamping out. All right, let me try this one. I ran into a little bit of problems with that one right there. Let's see if I can get a good impression with this. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I'm using a little bit more pressure, I think. So stamp harder? Maybe I'm squeezing ink into that emulsion surface or something like that. Yeah, look at that right there. It's like perfectly dark. All right, so I don't know. Maybe I should have practiced with all those trees right there and like figured it out and then stamped like the most prominent thing in there. But now I'm just going to have to kind of darken that in with, you know, some, you know, sponging technique here. All right, so let's go in and define this area. I found that this worked pretty well in a previous scene that I was like totally fumbling around with, trying to utilize the watercolor pencil technique. That worked great on the Seaside Cove wave area, but trying to get kind of this mottled look in the grasses, it was just there was too much variation in there. So I just went back to, you know, what I know real well with the cotton ball application. So in here, this is what I'm talking about. It's really easy to just kind of blend in like nice little kind of lines, straight line types of applications of watercolor paint in there. But in my grassy area, it was just kind of like totally mucking it up right in here. And then I just started using the cotton ball, and that just solved everything in that kind of softer area. So let's see what we can do here. Oh, yeah. I forgot about the moon. I want a moon in here. And let's do that. I was thinking about the large one, but the smaller one might be good. I think the smaller one looks better in this scene. Let's do that. If I wanted something flying in front of the moon, like some bats or something like that, I would go with the larger one, the larger moon. Okay, I'm going to wipe off some of this moon a little bit. Just maybe it'll stamp out a little bit lighter in the textural area, okay? And we'll see if I can get a little bit of variation in the impression here. Yeah, value impression. So it's a little bit darker and a little bit lighter in there, like that. And see, that would have been probably like that dark right on there. I mean, it would have looked okay, but I wanted a little bit lighter so it kind of recedes visually a little bit more. Now, this whole area right around in here should probably be toned in a little bit, but we'll see how that goes. I lightened up these clouds so much, and just to try to get a super, super delicate, faint amount of tone around that moon. I don't know. It might be beyond what I really feel like testing my abilities or lack of abilities for. All right. My son, when he was like, I don't know, maybe before he was one, I don't know if he remembered it, but this neighbor of ours used to put up a haunted house type of thing, haunted front yard, you know, pretty elaborate one every year. And I guess before he knew that type of thing was supposed to be really kind of scary, you know, he was like really intrigued by it, so always wanted to go over there all the time. So he was like never like scared of things, you know, like skeletons, and you know, there was like skeletons and a skeleton on a noose hanging, and graveyards and spiders and all that type of thing. In fact, he kind of loved it. Like one of his first kind of imagery types of you know, interests. He liked that, and he loved like Egyptian iconography, you know, mummies and Anubis and all that. So we were always going, you know, that they had those Halloween stores, those seasonal Halloween stores that open up, and like these vacant storefronts, you know, and we would always go to a lot of those every year. A lot of animatronics and things like that. It's kind of really surprising to see all of the different like Halloween decorations that there are these days. All right, so just adding in some light tones. Now this works better than I ever would have thought on here, because like I said, it kind of, you know, when you put that ink down when making your impressions, it really grabs that ink really fast, dries it up, you know, so I would think that doing this type of thing, you know, I might get like a harsh edge that I can't really blend out very well, but I don't know, go figure, you know. I'm able to get some pretty nice, delicate applications with it. I mean, this cotton ball right here, I mean, it's a cotton ball, so it's like super soft, but I mean, my pad right here isn't really that dry or anything like that, but That being said, you know, when you do this, I'm not really kind of, when I'm doing this, I'm not really ever kind of, I mean, it's kind of bouncing it like that, but I'm never really like pressing down all the way, like where my like fingernail is going to like poke through and give myself like a harsh edge in there or something like that. So it's just like, as you're doing this, you're just kind of like adding like a powdery type of application to it, you know, a light application, in other words, with each tap like that, okay? It, you know, with a couple taps again, just like going with white, it almost is like you can't see anything that you're applying. So only through kind of repetition does it appear. And when you're applying that small amount of tone down at any given time, it's a lot easier to kind of control that way, you know, in terms of how much is being applied. Okay, so see that right in here, that area in there, I had that big gap. If you've been watching this develop, I overmasked this place, or I didn't press enough, you know, press hard enough around that cloud and that little ridge. There's this little ridge in here. It's kind of invisible right now. We're going to try to define it a little bit more, but you know, I just filled it in with tone. So if there's any types of things, you know, you stamp out all of your different imagery in your compositions, but there, you have gaps in between the imagery, which sometimes it stresses people out a little bit. It's like, oh man, I didn't blend that very well. But, you know, when you add in the color, that's going to be, you know, that'll blend it. You know, when you get to that step, we want things to kind of blend, you know, just in the impressions themselves. But if you don't get things, you know, perfectly or even closely, you know, blended together in the impression process, don't worry about it if you're going to be coloring anyway, because the color unifies everything, the shading, everything like that. So it's not really any big deal. But just know that, you know, if that happens. That's why I'm, you know, when this area down here, I mean, it was really cluttered with overlapping imagery. I wasn't wiping this off, and it was like, okay, maybe I should start wiping it off. And I didn't do that till later, but you know, there's always other things that will kind of blend and smooth and unify, all that type of thing. Now, it's a little bit different on this glow-in-the-dark paper. I'm not going to be using, I don't think I'm going to be using like white pigment ink to create kind of a mistier effect in there. Because the white, if I did that, the white would kind of be blocking off the glow area. So the white that would represent lightness in here, when I flip off the lights, it's going to be blocking off that glowing. So it's going to be darker. So, you know, I don't know if I want to do that. Okay, so this area right in here, do you see this little, you know, delicate defining tone in here that defines that road right there? And you can see it right here in the foreground too. It's darker right here, but it's lighter right there. I'm going to darken this area to give it a little bit more mass and volume. So you mask this off like this, and then kind of you're tapping kind of like halfway on this rag and halfway off. But see that little bit of shade that's now developing like that? Kind of do it with a little bit of a drier touch or approach. It's like dry brushing, right? We got that right there. And we have that little bit of a stronger definition right around in there. It's like the easiest coloring that you'll ever do, because it's like all we're doing is working with black. If it were a color scene, I'd be using, you know, if it was like daytime and it's like this is a grassy area, you know, in the spring, I'd be using probably like 3 or 4 shades of green, maybe multimedia, colored pencils, dye-based inks, acrylic paint pens, whatever, you know, to get that. But see that right now? Now we're defining that. That's a pretty decent transition right there. It's not like a harsh one, because I kept kind of building it up like tapping it like from low too high like that, you know, kind of coming up like that. A little bit like this too. And okay, now right here is where this curvilinear road ended, and I kind of filled in. So you can see that harsh edge right there. So let's extend this edge out this way. Like this. Okay. And we'll come right up in here. I'd normally add some of this tone right down in this road too, but I don't know, maybe since it's glow in the dark, maybe I should leave that just as is and not, you know, put any tone in there so it's nice and bright right in here. I'm not sure. Hello, Patty, how are you? 4 great-grands and 5 grandkids. Yeah. So is this the first? Well, you got 4 great-grand. Is that great-grandchild the first of the grandkids, or is that their second or third or something like that? It sounds like fun stuff there. Have you guys taken like a picture with all the kids, the kids and grandkids and great grandkids together? I'm laughing because that sounds like a really fun picture. All right, so we have this. It's kind of developing a little bit more. Yeah, all right, now let's get some of this tone on this light. I keep wanting to say lighthouse. It's the windmill here, where it got a little muddled right there. Okay, so let's go in there. You know what I can tell? It has this kind of this fluid, you know, kind of look to this. The patterns in there. I think what happens is when I was squeezing down with that ink was wet and it kind of like it moved out like that a little bit, and then it darkened where it kind of moved out like that, and maybe it was where my distribution of pressure was or something like that. So all right, so if you get this kind of muddled type of impression like this, you know, just fill it in later on like I'm doing here. And you can do that with like any of your structures. Okay, anywhere where I've added tone into a scene, you know, you can just go in there and just like add that back in like that. It's not really a big deal. It's still a little textured in there, but you know, so be it. It's supposed to be like, you know, kind of modeled anyway in terms of light and dark on there and texturing. All right, let's put a little bit more tone on this one. This side right here with the dots is fine, but let's get a little bit more tone on there to give it a little bit more body. I don't mind the structure kind of glowing, but I don't want it to glow like too much. I want those windows in there to stand out a little bit, you know, with this glow film like that. Okay. All right, so I'm assessing right now. I'm looking at the moon right here, casting its light, and I'm looking at this area behind the windmill. I mean, I stamped the clouds to right there, and then I stamped them again over here. I didn't like put one like right in this space, but I think it looks okay. I think it's maybe a little bit better to have that glowing space behind the windmill, as it'll make the windmill stand out a little bit more, especially in the dark. So let's just leave it like that. Okay, I'm looking around at these trees in here. And again, this is like, you know, I'm trying to think about it being seen in the dark, so it'll glow, but I'm kind of wondering, do I put a little bit of shadow work underneath these right here? And I think I should. So let's do this. Let's put a little bit of a shadow work under these trees in here, like this. And maybe let's go with a little bit of a stronger shadow down here along this road curve, winding around like this. So, Bonnie, do you make cards for the kids, the grandkids, and the great grandkids? Then I was thinking that's if you're doing like homemade, handmade cards, even just for them, that's like full time. that's a that's a full time job right there. All right, let's see. Going a little bit darker there. Let's go a little bit darker right here too. The darker I take the kind of this area right here, I believe it gives me more leeway to make areas up here a little bit darker. Okay, so let's do this right here. I'm going to try to get just the edge a little bit darker. It doesn't have to be uniform here. Here, let me try to oscillate it and see if that looks good. I'll go a little bit darker, a little bit lighter, a little bit darker, okay? As I'm doing this, I'm kind of moving my mask too, okay? All right, so right there, it's a little bit varied. And then, let me add more tone to that lighthouse now that I see it here. It's a little bit muddled looking still. Sorry if I'm mumbling a lot here. There's like I mumble more, I think, when I'm trying to figure something out for the first time or doing something. So it's like there's less kind of reporting and kind of more speculation in my approach. So I'm not sure about something. If something's gonna work or not. So it's like I'm more like talking to myself here. All right, there's a little bit of that road right here, and I'm trying to darken that little area in there just to bring out that road a little bit more. Yeah, see that right there? That windy road kind of curves around there and it goes back in there like that. And let's see here. I don't have a strong sloping kind of grass line right there. So you can do these things different, You can make like the base of something in here darker and you go light up top, okay? Or when you have light like that there that's meeting this area, you can go dark from top down, okay? And that goes back to see right here, we have this lighter slope and then the cloud in the background is darker, okay? But right over here where I have those trees, maybe I should go dark down like that, okay? And again, it goes back to that whole kind of idea of checkerboarding that I've talked about before. It doesn't have to be kind of a uniform approach everywhere in the scene. You're just kind of doing it for whatever that area, I don't know if it dictates it, but I don't know, whatever it suggests that. Okay, so I want a little bit of a stronger ridge, I guess, and also some shadow work underneath those trees. So I added that right in there. See, I can see that little sloping ridge, better now. I guess that's not so dark up there that I can't make this little ridge a little bit darker. Let's do that. Okay. Oh, that one went really dark. I guess that had to because it had to show up in front of that area. Now that I went that dark there, I want to go a little bit darker here though. It gave me some guts. All right. Two great grandchildren candy. That's cool. My third grandson thought every time they went to Walmart, they had to have a Hot Wheel. I, my wife and I used to talk about that. Thank God, those Hot Wheels are still like, I don't know, they're still like close to $1 each. I was just in the grocery store here, and I looked at the prices of those, and it's still like it was like $1.20 or something like that. When we were buying them for my kid, um, they were like I think they were $1. Whatever, 16, 17 years ago, while he was interested in it. I thought they would have been two by now, especially with the prices going up on everything. But yeah, they're still kind of reasonable, which was nice. But my son used to go to one of those kids haircutting places, and it was kind of expensive for like this. They spent like I don't know. They got to go fast on those kids, so it was like I don't think it was even like a 5 minute cut. It was like 3 minute cut, and it was kind of pricey. So I tried to talk him into going where I used to have my haircut, and it kind of freaked him out a little bit because his place had like TV sets set up, and they set in like these little car looking chairs and stuff like that. So so I incentivized it. I said, okay, if you go get your haircut here, right across the parking lot is the Target, and we'll go in there and whenever you get your haircut here, you can go pick out a Hot Wheel. Done deal. No problems with it ever again. And for me, I don't know, whatever it was, 99 cents, it probably saved, I don't know, whatever it was, $10, I don't know, $15 or something like that. All right, so there we go like that. We're getting our shading done a little bit more, and yeah, this area right in here is a little bit muddled. Let's add a little bit of tone to it. I'll put that in a little bit of darkness right back in there. We have this tree that just didn't stamp out very dark. I don't want to just give it this blobby, kind of application of pigment ink in there, but we can darken it in a little bit. Like this. All right. Let's see here. Let's add in. See, I would normally add in shadows in here, but again, when I charge this up and we're looking at it in the dark, we want this fence to kind of, be illuminated by this lighting in the background. So maybe I shouldn't take it, too dark back there. I don't know, maybe we add a little bit. Let's see, let's go a little bit more contrast up in the sky, maybe up in the edges, the four corners right here. So this is glow-in-the-dark stuff here, Bonnie. Kids love glow-in-the-dark, so we're gonna need you to stamp out this scene here. How many times was it with the grandkids and the great grandkids? You gotta, I don't know. You're doing like 20 of these. You can do a really fast one. Do those reflection cards. They'll get a kick out of that. Do that really easy one with just like one moon in the sky, you know, kind of reflecting down below. All right. We have that, like about like so. Let's add a little bit more foreground in here. So all we need is like Frankenstein here, you know, carrying that woman. I don't know. Is that what he did up to the windmill or something like that? Or no, he wasn't with her, right? I think he went in there by himself. I can't remember. All right, a little bit of foreground with these grasses like this. So we went grasses in the background, sedge filler, and that grass texture like there. Now we're adding something even closer to us with the reeds large. Okay, you got the 100% cotton balls, but you got spotted prints. You're not loading your cotton ball enough, Candy. It sounds like it's blobby in there. And are you kind of squishing it out like this? And I don't know if you have like longer nails too, but when you're doing this, make sure your nails aren't extended out and pressing into the base of the thing. So just kind of curl the nails around a little bit more like that, okay? And then just lightly dab on there. Or if you have those like alligator clip things, have the alligator clip on there. And then just lightly dab it. So you either have like an uneven amount of ink on there. So but just kind of squish it out like this, okay? And then take it on there. But dab off though too, you know. That's why I have this right here. Not this one. I don't know. I have another one where you can see all these little things on there where I've kind of dabbed out. So if you're getting like these spots in there, there's just an uneven distribution of ink in there. But that's where the, you know, the wiping off will distribute it amongst your cotton ball. And then just tap it off until you get the right texture that you want, which is this soft little texture, right? And then take it onto your scene like that, you know. So do all that, blob off, tap off, and by then, you know, you can take it down there and, you know, your ink on the cotton ball is completely dry. There's nothing left to apply. But yeah, just do that, you know, just test it out like that. You don't know, when I say that, it's not like, okay, now every time I do that, I got to do it. But this is like when you're getting the feel of it. You got to get the feel of it. And it also depends on how damp your pad is at that given time too. So it sounds like there's a lot of ink. There's a little bit too much ink, and it's not distributed well. You have to kind of load up the front of your cotton ball. Just on the surface, that's what it is. But that's when you start like pressing it down like this. What you're doing is you're loading it up a little bit past the surface, okay? And then that's kind of, you know, as you're tapping it down like that, it's nice and flat on the surface, but then you have that back area kind of feeding it as it comes off of that cotton ball, okay? Now, on here, I don't know, on here, the touch is a little bit different. I don't know. It's pretty close, I guess, to paper. Maybe, I don't know, maybe on this one right here, I haven't really done like black pigment ink toning a lot of times on like cardstocks because I'm usually using like dye-based inks for that. But I don't know, this just feels a little bit different. And, you know, maybe, again, maybe it's because it's the Brilliance ink or something like that. But it's not the same for, like, dye-based ink or something like that, okay? Adjust accordingly. And then when I re-ink this, too, or my white one, you know, I have to get a feel for where that ink is, where, you know, how much is on the cotton ball, how much is going to be coming off of it. But do that, and you'll get a feel for it. It's like a kinesthetic type of thing. You'll get the touch for it. And like I said, it's different. It's different for me sometime. I'm sure it's different if it's the temperature outside might adjust it a little bit. If it's really hot. And it depends what type of ink. What ink we're using, Candy. We're using the Brilliance. The Brilliance ink is going to dry a little bit faster, kind of the drier and kind of warmer it is too. Play around with it. Play around with like, I don't know, if you have a color box, you probably have a color box, Frost White, the oil-based one. Try that too. The Brilliance ink was the one that, for me, was a little bit, I had to get used to it a little bit more because it dries faster. The color box one, and then I started using the Hero Arts Unicorn White. I started using that a little bit more when I went to a store in Washington State. That one was the one for everyone in the class. They said, yeah, the unicorn one's like better. So I started using that. But then I found that I could use the Brilliance ink just went faster for me, so I just started using that. And I had the feel of it, but I didn't like it early on because it dried a little bit faster for me, and I wanted a little bit more time to kind of blend it out and manipulate it. All right, adding a little bit of tone back in here. This area right in here, it's not textural enough for me. Okay, so let's take a kind of a jagged edge right here, like this, and let's put a little bit more texturing in there where those grasses are. So I can see the textures in there from one texture to the next. Like I can see where this one like ends and the other one begins. So I'm just looking for that. And what I'm doing is I'm masking it off like this is a darker area, and I'll mask it off right in here, and I'll add a little bit more tone to it, and then I'll come up here and add a little bit of tone. So let's go right up here like this. This is like doing that thing where people do like mountains in the background with that ripped paper towel, except instead of mountains, we're just doing flatter, kind of grassy textures. See that right in there? The little varied area. And I can move this around. See, I just kind of moved it up now. So see, in this darker area right here, you can add, another little, area that's even darker than that. So again, I haven't even re-inked this. I'm just kind of using it as is. It's almost like applying like charcoal to a scene. It's just this really kind of light amount, or like you can think of it like, I don't know, like a colored pencil or something or graphite pencil, something like that. But see that right in there? So that looks a little bit better. It's a little bit more varied. And let's create a little bit of a slope in here like this. So see, isn't that great about paper towels too? It's like every, you can use it for masking. It's your template for, making clouds sometime. It's for adding textures. It's masking. Whatever you want, practically. Straight edge right here, straighter edge on that, rough edge on, or a varied edge on grasses, something soft and whatever, structured or really billowy like that. All right, so we have that. I don't know, is that road a little bit too light? Should I get a little bit of tone on there? Let's get a little bit of tone. This is kind of like a harsh transition right here. Let's go with a little bit of tone in here. Let's see. Look up vintage Hot Wheel. I do have my old Hot Wheel cars in a set. It's like that old Hot Wheel case. I don't think I have any of the like the super pricey ones, but I have looked up some of the cars before, I think. Patty, start off. This is what I do. I mean, I don't go 5 months without stamping, but I have like spent, I don't know, times over the years where I just started doing designing and did a ton of designs for a while. But what I do is I go back to my, it's usually, for me, it's the Lakeside Cove stamp. And I just stamp out just something very, very basic in terms of technique and composition. Or, and it's what I also do when I'm stamping out, like I don't know, did I do it with this one right here? Like this vinyl paper glow in the dark. If it's a new type of surface, I just go to my go-to composition. Typically it's the Lakeside Cove, pines and rocks in the foreground, over whatever surface, you know, that I want to use it with. Something like that. You kind of have to, for me, it's kind of like it's not like a mental thing, although it can be. It's like a mental barrier if I'm just trying to do that. For me, it's kinesthetic memory. I need to get my hands involved with it. I don't know. It's not like your hands have memory, but it might trigger something. So we have all these different senses, right? And you know, usually when we're trying to get inspired or start something, it's like trying to think of it and waiting around for that to happen or something like that. But I think we need to use as many of our senses as possible to get back into the spirit of something, you know, because it's emotional, it's feeling, you know, it's doing something, and it can get frustrating, you know. But so you need to kind of use as many senses as possible. Okay, that looks better on that road now, doesn't it? It's not just so stark and harsh of a line. See that? I have that coming over. I have a little bit more space right in here, and then I've toned up here. Less tone, some tone down here. Normally, before I would have toned in this whole thing, but I think that looks better. So if it's like creating a shadow right here, maybe that little tuft is a little bit higher there, and there's like some, you know, light getting through. It's just those little things like that. But yeah, try to get real kinesthetic, you know, use your media, you know, get your hands involved with touch. I don't know, have your favorite beverage out or whatever, you know, and drink something while doing something, you know, inject some taste into it or something like that, you know, have some music playing, whatever. But yeah, for me, it's definitely touch. I need to get that thing going like that. And yeah, it's just you know, just something really simple. It's like exercises. So you're talking about kind of being rusty and not doing something for 5 months, right? If we were to do anything, I mean, stamping is physical. You're using your hands and everything like that, right? If we went on walks every day or jogged or anything like that, or if someone played, you know, some sort of sport, you know, they had some downtime, they wouldn't just go back into it, you know, usually full bore, you know, they'd pace themselves, or, you know, you do some warm-ups or something like that. So you can do like warm-up exercises too, you know. my illustration professor always mentioned he felt that doing artwork was like it should be more of like a dance. Now it's not like we said, oh my God, it's yeah, we understood that. I didn't understand what he meant for a long time, but it made sense later on. you know, but he was saying that when you do like some scenes or something like that or artwork, he felt that when you're doing something for the first time, when you're developing a piece of art, what you do is you go through your preliminaries and you practice something, and it's like a practice, and then when you do your final piece, that's you're doing your warm up things to get to that recital. You don't just go in there and if you're like a musician or something like that, if you're going to do a performance, you go these practices before then, right? And then you go in and do it. So maybe you just do, if you wear stampers and you want to do something, you just do it, do something like 2 or 3 times, especially if you haven't done it for a while. And if you think about it more like like a physical exercise, that would make sense. It didn't really make sense, like I said, like to us kids, back when we were in his class. We're like, hey, we don't want to do, you know what I mean? We don't want to do all these like 5 roughs or something like that. We just, we want to do it, and that's our final piece right there. But it's like, okay, yeah, like if I was to do this again, it would be so much better probably, because I know all these little adjustments to make, during this process right here. So, but I'm not going to do this again. you know? But I'm just talking about in general, though. Do a little preliminary for yourself. But I definitely understand the kind of the modes too. You know what I mean? I think we use different like hemispheres of our brain sometimes when we're creating too. I don't know if it's like right brain, left brain type of thing, or just kind of getting in that mode. You've been thinking about things like logistics, and moving and timing and packing and getting ready for, you know what I mean? Um, there was a lot of definitives where I need to have these things ready by this time, and it's moving. You were counting down the days, I got this many days left, and now, you're talking about like a creative endeavor now, you know what I mean? So, you know, but just do a couple little things, maybe to get yourself back into that mode of it. For me, that happens again when I was doing like designs. That's why I'm trying to crank out some designs right now. That's kind of an oscillation of both kind of logic, because I have to think about how things are going to be used. It's definitely a different thing than stamping it. Stamping's like, I don't know, it's like you're kind of just using stuff, and you're using it in a different way every time. For me, because I like to experiment. I've been, using the different types of media and surfaces like this. It's not, I'm not thinking about it too logically, like, okay, when I'm designing this stamp right here, how dark do I make this area, and how is it going to be used? How is it going to interlock and stuff like that? It's creative, but it's a lot of, logic too. So, yeah, I definitely hear where you're coming from, especially if you haven't been doing it for quite a few months. But you can get back into it really fast, though. But just kind of get in there and do it, but don't look at the kind of the end result. See it as like kind of like more of a preliminary exercise or something like that to get back into it. If you were a swimmer, right, you're not going to go in there and swim like a meat. You're going to do, you're just going to get in there and do some laps. You can also just do, I don't know, I wouldn't do it, but you know, you can just do whatever types of techniques you were doing too, just do it on a, you know, piece of blank paper or something like that. You know, that's kind of boring, so I would just see it as, you know, stamp out whatever you're going to stamp out and just see it as like a little exercise, you know, for whatever techniques that you're going to employ on it. I think I'm almost done here with this. I'm tweaking it a little bit, you know. I've been taking, you know, the edges and making them a little bit darker. So this area is a little bit darker like that. Looks a little bit different because this is like shiny vinyl, so it's like reflecting, but you know, this is like, that's, you know, a little bit more akin to what it looks like that. Let's see here. Was that enough foreground? Oh, you know, I think will look really good. Whew. Can I get a good impression? But if I have like an overhanging tree limb coming right in here, that would be perfect. I'm just wondering if I'm going to get a really good solid impression of it though. Okay, so speaking of, you know, my go-to things right here, here's my Lakeside Cove, there's my Pines and Rocks, you know, and I often use this too, my oak branch, as my kind of a warm-up or kind of experimental elements. Let's see here. The oldest grand and 3 great live in Virginia. Yeah, you're probably all over the place. All had Hot Wheels and were in great condition. My mom. Yeah, your mom gave them away, Patty. See if she can get them back. As the boys got older, I had them pick their favorite out of their stash of cars. You know what's kind of interesting to me was my son. We didn't talk about cars or anything like that, but he wasn't into the really elaborate looking ones. He was into like the classics, like the muscle cars of like the, you know, the late 60s and early 70s for some reason, you know. He wasn't into those like really kind of wild looking, you know, Hot Wheels. For some reason, it's like, I don't know, as far as cars went, maybe a little bit, you know, like an old soul or something like that. All right, let's see if I can get a good impression here. Yeah, people used to do that alligator clip candy. Oh, you know what they did that for? Back pre rubber stamp accessory of any kind, practically. People were taking the cosmetic sponges, I think the wedges, you know, and they would use that on an alligator clip. I believe that's the things that they were clipping and applying into their scenes. Hello, Jeannie. Hello, military mom. Okay. Let's see how this tree comes out, Linda, if I can get a good impression. I don't want to like lift this off. The last thing I want to see is like a 50% gray, you know, here. Let me take a peek. Okay, that looks, it's a little bit lighter around the moon like that, but I think that's okay like that, you know, because it's right on the moon. But let me add another one like right over here. It got really dark over here though. Why is it printing, you know, like multiple tones? I like multiple tones in my impressions, like with the clouds. But, you know, I'd like to kind of know, I'd like to kind of be able to predict a little bit better how it's going to. I wonder if I wonder if I can go. I mean, the brilliance definitely stamped out the darkest on this. The stays on looked pretty good too. Should I do a stays on impression over here? Let's test it out. Do I want to test it out? Then I'll have to clean the stamp off, you know, whenever I use stays on ink. Or do I want to? Let me see. Let me try this one more time with the brilliance here. If you just joined in, I'm getting like varied impressions on top of this vinyl here. Now I've been able to utilize it and just kind of, you know, roll with it. But like right here, we got brilliancing down here. And just stamping it into the scene like this. This is like we're under, you know, standing underneath a tree. But I've been trying to figure out, some of the impressions come out exactly like I want, you know, like the fences, the clouds, but then like these trees in here came out a little bit lighter, maybe until I start pressing more. I don't know. It's like pounds per square inch or something like that. Maybe that is. Okay, now I pressed in there. I was just kind of joking around, but that's like a much darker impression than right there, right? Okay, so let me put another one right here just to kind of frame it off. I'm not going to be able to see very much of it. I don't know. Stand up and, you know, make your impressions that way. If you want it really dark, apparently. Make an impression. That was a store name, a rubber stamp store. All right, like that. To get yourself back into the swing of it, Patty, stamp this scene right here on glow-in-the-dark vinyl. Actually, I mean, you could do the Lakeside Cove, you know, make a reflection card or something like that, you know, with the glow-in-the-dark. You got the Lakeside Cove, just, you know, in that lower section. All right, let me see if I can get a good impression with this right here. Now, this one I don't want to squash down because they're delicate little birds here. Yeah, okay, nice and dark there. All right, let's see what this looks like. I think we're ready. Okay, wait, hold on a second. I'm gonna put some of the these textures right here. I was telling someone in one of those previous videos that these little pebbly textures look good in like the grassy areas too. You know, here and there. All right, here. So that right in my shadow area like that. Okay. All right, so quite a bit of shading on this one. I'm learning how to use this sticker paper like with the most, I don't know, it can't be really that much more kind of a fundamental types of knowledge or, you know, kind of techniques on this type of paper. It sure is fun though, but it's like just getting the impressions. You know, apparently I don't know exactly, you know, how to do that in every instance yet. Okay, sometimes I don't know. Sometimes it seems like it's fine, but I don't know. Apparently I need to press harder or something like that with some of the imagery, especially if there's a lot of you know, solid area on these delicate ones, again, don't like press like crazy, otherwise it might kind of like smash down. Okay, there we go, like that. It would be kind of cool having something kind of walking up this roadway right here, but we'll just leave it like that for right now. All right, let's check it out in the light here. Let's see. I'm going to hold this up to my one of my light sources here. It's really light outside right now, so it's not really dark in my room, but I'll close off my blinds as much as possible. Here, let's see. Oh, finger problems. Yeah, the alligator. Do you have some of those alligator clips? They had those alligator clips like it was on a like a stick, right? Or something like that. Also, really keep things nice and ergonomic for yourself, Candy. Which you probably already do, you know, working around. Things, but flip your card around always, you know, in the direction that's going to be the most conducive for a certain look. And also, too, you know, use a really, you know, light touch, you know. It's almost like you're just touching the page, especially with something like the, here, I don't need to angle that too much right here. It's not getting very much glare. But yeah, I'm looking at this right here. Yeah, always do that. And then stretch your hands out too, fingers and joints, before and maybe during and after use. And I do it too, like a lot of times when I'm just watching TV or something like that. It's almost like a subconscious thing I do these days. All right, let's see here. Here, let me get a little bit of a stronger charge here. Okay. That's a pretty decent grayscale. Grayscale, whatever, composition. All right. Okay, again, my camera kind of compensates a lot, but let me adjust the exposure here if I... Oh, man. Did it just go out of focus? Okay, here we go. Okay, that looks pretty good. That's about the glowing light that I see here firsthand. But again, like I've mentioned in a previous video, what I'm looking at firsthand, it's a lot more green tinged, okay, than this one. It's a lot more, I don't know, I wouldn't call it lime green, but kind of closer to lime green. It moves in that direction, so it's a little bit more like, I don't know, well, that, you know, that glow in the dark greenish tinge that, you know, that we're familiar with out there, so let's see. Oh, yeah, I saw your comment there, Linda. Yeah, it did need a little something in there, didn't it? On the non-printable. Okay, so Linda has some non-printable glow-in-the-dark vinyl that came on a roll that she's using with the StazOn ink. That works really well in terms of the impressions on that vinyl. And that one came on a roll. So we're waiting for a whole roll single scene by Linda, right, everyone? Vinyl and stamping a whole scene is that it shows green before charging. Oh, okay. But your scenes look natural without the charge. Oh, so, well, I don't know. I mean, if it, we're working on this glow in the dark though, Linda. If it's looking greenish tinge, before you take it into the dark, then, you know what I mean? It's kind of meant for that anyway. So, why not, just have it that way, just kind of work with kind of its natural characteristics. And, so I don't know, I'm trying to think of some ways to use this in certain types of scenarios that would be really conducive. The scene that I was going to do tonight was with the I forgot what nature set number it is, but it's with the swampy imagery, and I was going to do a reflection card, which I think I've done before, but I thought, that might be time to do it again because this printable vinyl like this, I don't know, it'd be like perfect for that bayou situation. And then I would have it glowing down in that lower section. I was trying to think of a way that I can do this one right here as a reflection card. So we'd have this glowing light up top. Maybe that windmill would be reflected down here. But I thought, that's going to... I mean, we can have this road going down to a waterside area, but, I'd have to put like a pier here or something like that. It would look kind of weird, just this road, and then just straight water down below here like that. So anyways, okay, so this is, I charged this up, I don't know, it was like 3 seconds in that light, but here it's starting to lose a little bit of its charge for me. But for the most part, it's, it's still got a little bit of a glow to it, which is cool. So if you charged it up, I don't know, maybe if you charge, I don't know what the maximum amount is. You can't just charge it up for 5 minutes. It's going to last like exponentially longer, I'm sure. It maxes out. But I think if you charged it up for 10 seconds or, I don't know, 15 seconds, it would really give a decent amount of charge. And it's definitely going to be like at full strength in the time that someone would take and look at it in a dark setting, you know what I mean? It's not like they're gonna wait until completely whatever loses that charge. So, and again, if we're doing this like for kids, military mom's gonna make 15 of them. I think, you can do some kind of a situation setting, not this one right here, but you can do a nice little kind of a setting for some kids, and they can put it right next to their bed, They probably have a night light on anyway, so it's probably not completely dark, but you know what I mean? It's just cool to see something in the dark, It's one of those things that makes kids kind of like interested in the dark too, it's like I want to go into a dark space, to see this type of thing. So, those old glow-in-the-dark stickers and stuff like that, it makes it kind of more of like a incentive, or something that they can enjoy in the dark. I think that's really cool too, or in some kind of, I don't know, whatever fear of that. So, anyway. All right. Oh, so what I found too, with my other papers too, I think I showed it in the other scene, but I'm going to matte this up. I happen to have this like lime green paper that was like perfect to matte this off in. All right, these aren't charged up at all. They were just sitting on the floor, but yeah, that little area here. Usually I kind of put a little bit of a white border on it, but I happen to have this like pastel green that almost matches the colors of these ones right here. So you can see this. There was like some light. This was like over the top of it like this on the floor just now. Okay. And just getting a little bit of light, you can see that greenish kind of glow right there, So again, this paper is like really fun. So I'll do that same type of thing. I'll matte this off and, put like a black frame around it or something like that. But I think we have a really good candidate for some Halloween cards here, especially, like I said, it's cheaper now. So the paper than it was like 2 years ago. And again, like Linda got that whole roll of the vinyl one. It's non-printable though, but you can stamp on there with your stays on inks. Hello, Christine. How are you? let's see. How long does it glow? Oh, well, it glows quite a way, while. I haven't like just had it sitting out and just I timed it or anything like that. I mean, it has a little bit of a charge left still though in front of me. It's kind of turning less green though, I think, for me. And it has just more of like a dim kind of glow. I think what you're seeing right now, it's kind of what I'm seeing now. It's just, it's a little bit darker though. Let me see if I can show you. It's the dimness, what I'm looking at in person is kind of like that now on screen. Okay. But before, when it was charged, it looked more like that. Okay. But again, more greenish in tinge, so. Okay, now way overexposed right there, because it's getting darker, so my camera's like really compensating there. But it lasts quite a while, and again, it's unlike the acrylic glow-in-the-dark paint. Okay, those ones I really had to lay down a lot of coats of it. But again, those ones, you can add it wherever you want. But that one, the charge didn't last nearly as long as this vinyl. This vinyl's like really thick, okay, and I have a feeling there's a pretty big coating of whatever that element is that is catching that light in there. So, like I said, this has a feeling like it's like rubber or something like that, almost like a rubber sheet, unlike the other like holographic printable vinyls that's really thin, okay? So I have no idea how long it'll glow for. But, long enough for those kids to go in there and, when they get those cards, or whoever we send them out to. My one was still charged the next day. How's that? You're just joking, right, Linda? Or was it still glowing? Yeah, we talked about it, though. Yeah, it's like if we could see it, we almost see it like glowing, like on our desks, like with, when I was just putting like my hand, like right here, it was like, I could see that little area, when I was like toning it, with the cotton ball, I could see in the shadow area, it was kind of glowing a little bit. So yeah, it's like super aggressive, and it's, so as far as that goes, it's really great. All right, Linda. Yeah, Linda's going to stamp out that, that 12-inch by, 36-inch version of this scene, and she'll be posting that. Let's see, it's 6:04 p.m. here for both of us. We're both on Pacific Standard Time. Check out the Facebook group tonight at midnight, right, Linda? And you'll have that 3-foot version. Okay, thanks everyone. This will be the first live stream that we've ended. We're all here together in the dark here. Glow scene. The glow mill. How about the glow mill? Let me know how it goes, Patty. Send me examples or something like that. And let me see, is Candy, are you still on? Candy, if you run into, send me like a photo of those marks that you're getting with the the cotton ball. I want you to get that cotton ball kind of technique down, and that's going to really be a fun thing to add in with your pieces there. Thanks, Military Mom. Glad you like it. Fun with glow fun right here. It's really fun stuff. That and the if you want to blend out the brilliance inks, right? All right. Good night, everyone.